All right, we have done that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the quarterly micromobility meeting. I'm Tyler Smith. I will be your master of ceremonies today. I'm going to go ahead and open up the PowerPoint presentation. Why do I have two open again? 1 second. They're both the same. Okay. Bear with me, y'all. I practice this and everything. It's happening. Okay. Do you all see a PowerPoint presentation with today's date at the top?
Good to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to get started. So, welcome to the Micromobility Committee meeting. This is an opportunity for the public and any stakeholders in Baltimore City's Dockless vehicle program to hear from the operators as well as from the Department of Transportation about how the program is running, where we are at data-wise, where we are at with various efforts to make a better program for all of us. So thank you for attending. Going to kick things off. No, that is not advancing the slides. All right, now we are. So the agenda for today, we'll be introducing myself. I am the new Dockless Vehicle Program Manager. We're going to talk about a new inspection process that I've collaborated with my coworkers to put into place in my first month here. We're going to talk about the Link scooter recovery effort and update you on how that is going. We'll talk about data in terms of weekly trips, utilization, and vehicles deployed on the street in the last year. Then we'll turn it over to Spin and then Lime, our two authorized operators, to talk about what they're up to. And we'll talk about what's coming up ahead. If anyone has questions in terms of what you're looking at in that moment that's confusing you, I would like you to go ahead, unmute yourself and pipe in. Bring it up in the moment, please, because it's likely that other people might also have the same confusion you are having. If you have other questions that aren't about, like, I don't understand what I'm looking at, please hit the raise hand icon and we will make time at the end of the presentation to take those questions. All right. So a little bit about me. Hi, I am from Baltimore City. I grew up in the Oakenshaw neighborhood. If anyone wants to know where I went to school, which is high school in Baltimore City, I went to Gilman. Ended up going to college, the College of William and Mary, where I studied economics and political science. In terms of my most relevant to this work experience, I did 5 years in Washington, D.C. as a bike courier for Washington Express. I was also their trainer. Then I subsequently worked at Alta, later Motivate, which is the operator of Capital Bike Share. I was there for 10 years. I worked as a field bike mechanic, then the field bike mechanic manager. I was a crane operator, and then I also led the team of folks who installed the stations, and then later the team of folks who also maintained the stations. As a field bike mechanic, I performed over 45,000 bike inspections. Also wrote a lot of the training materials they use still today, including how to inspect a bike, as well as a method for testing the pitch of the stations, which is very important when it comes to docking the bikes properly. Other training materials I wrote as well. And I worked with local transportation officials, like some of you actually, to site the bike share stations, plan the traffic control, schedule the installation of them. The team that I oversaw, we installed over 200 stations. And also I am a regular sweeper mechanic for the Baltimore Bike Party. So that is a little bit about me. Goals for the program. We're looking to set clear expectation for the operators. We're looking to grow and standardize the access program. That is the low-income rider program in Baltimore City. We're looking to, did someone have a question? No? Okay. We're looking to ensure the entire fleet of vehicles are safe and operable. We're looking to provide transportation alternatives to the entire city of Baltimore, not just the popular areas. Going to be routinely checking for compliance in terms of fleet condition, vehicle distribution, and issue response times. working to ensure the bikes and the scooters are viable solutions where there are gaps in public transit, and working with stakeholders like you to address concerns about the program. So those are our goals moving forward. Bikes on the ground, scooters on the ground. As you can see, we've had a big uptick since we've added a second operator in terms of the total vehicles on the ground. The average for the scooters on the ground this quarter has been about 3,400. And the bikes are 605 on average this quarter on the ground. Ridership, whoops, oh, that changes the slides. I see. Ridership, we are at about 26,300 average weekly trips in 2024. Again, seeing a big uptick because there's more vehicles available on the ground in the past quarter. Seeing that with the bikes as well. So those are good things to see. And then the utilization also on the rise, good to see. The goal is 2. The scooters have been actually meeting that goal a bit. The bikes historically have not, but are also improving significantly. So that is good to see. And, total average utilization is 1.57 this past quarter. For the bikes, it's 0.8. For the scooters, it's 1.7. So one of the first things we did was came up with a new inspection process. Oh, I'd like to say, before I took on this position, Caitlin Schaefer has been holding it down admirably across some real issues that were popping up in the last 2 years. Not only did she do that, she also created an excellent training document and has really been instrumental in bringing me along and how to run this program. So I want to give props to Caitlin for doing that. Thank you, Caitlin. One of the things that Caitlin and I identified as potentially needing an update is the vehicle inspection process. There were just some questions about, how to administer it. There was some confusion between DOT and the operators in terms of how exactly it worked. So we built a new one. The idea was to make sure that the vehicles in the street are safe and rideable. We chose to de-emphasize some of the cosmetic issues like graffiti and peeling stickers in order to be able to stress safety for the rider and functionality for the vehicles. Not to say that we don't care about graffiti, we do care about that, but when it comes to whether a vehicle has graffiti on it or whether someone is able to ride it, I'm much more concerned with whether someone is able to ride it. The regular inspection process means that BC DOT staff like myself will inspect 3 available scooters and 3 available bikes for each operator. So we're looking at 6 vehicles per operator. There's 2 different metrics for what constitutes a good inspection. So for the operational side of the look at the vehicle, if 3 or more of those vehicles out of the 6 are non-compliant, meaning they have an operational issue like a brake not working, causing the vehicle to be judged either not safe or not rideable, then that results in a failed inspection. So you need to have 4 or more of your vehicles pass for the inspection to be a pass. For the appearance metric, it's a different bar. You need to have 4 or more out of the 6 vehicles be non-compliant and showing 2 or more significant issues in terms of the appearance of the vehicle. That's how it results in the failed inspection. So you can see there that we've got the stress on the operability of the vehicle while still looking at the appearance of the vehicles. And, broadly speaking, one of the reasons we did this was we want to track the general condition of the fleet and not so much just one specific issue popping up repeatedly. We want to be able to capture the overall health of the fleet, the overall appearance of the fleet, and that's what this is designed to do. The way things escalate also needed to be clarified to an extent. So a failed inspection for either the operation or the appearance results in a first warning. Then the operator has to pass the next 2 inspections to avoid that first warning escalating to a second warning. So if the next two inspections look good, that first warning is going to drop off. If in the next two inspections, that same category of issue is discovered to be non-compliant, for example, the first warnings for operations, then we find 4 vehicles with operational issues in the next inspection, that would result in a first warning becoming a second warning. And then same thing for the second warning going to a citation. You've got to pass 2 inspections for that warning to drop off. But the operational aspect and the appearance aspect are on 2 separate tracks. That's what this graphic is meant to show. So that's how the escalation works. And then what are we looking for? This is what we're looking for. This is the operational table. So if anything on any of these white rows is found to be substandard, like the pedals, the handlebars, the kickstand, the brakes, then that vehicle is non-compliant, right? We also don't want to see any loose or broken parts that someone could cut themselves touching. Like, for example, this would be like a sharp brake lever, or the basket is broken off and there's sharp points on that. We don't want that out there causing a safety risk for people. So that's something we want to prioritize. And then just overall, is the vehicle safe and rideable? Yes or no? You know, that's a judgment call on my part. These yellow rows on the bottom are just notes. Those are things that I want to bring to the operator's attention, but they are not things that we are looking at in this inspection in terms of make or break your vehicles. So that would be things like, is the vehicle misparked? Is the slow down zone not working properly? That's not always testable. I'm not always near a slow down zone when I'm testing a vehicle. But those are the things we're looking at in terms of the operational aspect of the inspection. Then there's the appearance aspect of the inspection. And for this one, 2 things need to be wrong for that vehicle to be non-compliant. So we're looking at, are there unsightly broken or damaged parts that are not causing a safety risk? Because if they were causing a safety risk, that would be under the operational table. So these are things that are not causing a safety risk, but are still a concern. We want to make sure that tactile sticker is there. That's the Braille sticker, so that folks, visually impaired folks, are able to report a vehicle that is not properly parked. Same reason we want to have the, for the general public, the company name and the vehicle number clearly identifiable on the vehicle. We're looking to see that telephone number and the website address so that people can report vehicles that are misparked, for example. We do not allow third-party advertising, and we don't want the vehicles to be too gross to ride. So that is something we're looking for as well. Again, the yellow rows are just notes for the companies. So minor cosmetic vandalism is going to be a note, or kind of a catch-all, slightly broken parts that aren't affecting safety and aren't unsightly, right? This is sort of like the least serious category of slight damage to the vehicles. And those are going to be notes. So that is the inspection regime we put in place, and we've been working with the operators to review it. But I'm also hoping that this meeting is an opportunity for folks from the public to give their input. You know, we are still able to make changes to this if they are needed. So that was one reason I wanted to make sure I went over this new inspection process with the stakeholders. And then finally, an update on the scooters that were left on Baltimore streets by a departing operator in December of last year. Those are the Link scooters. They are the yellow scooters. We have asked the public to report sightings and locations with photos, and those have been pouring in. We really appreciate that. Please do keep reporting them. New reports are being updated onto the list of places to search, and we are tracking where we are going. So it's very helpful for the public to keep telling us where they are. The team and towing has been doing a great job going out there and finding those scooters. So far, we've got 25 of them in the impound lot. That's a photo of them right there. But the job is not done. You know, we do believe there are still several dozen out there. So please do keep reporting them, and we will go look for them. And we appreciate everyone who's been participating in this effort. All right, so we've got two permit holders right now. We've got Spin with 2,800 scooters on the ground and over 150 e-bikes. And John Langford is going to do the first presentation with their information. And then we have Lime with 1,425 scooters on the ground, 75 seated e-scooters, and over 500 e-bikes on the ground. So John Langford is the Senior Director for Partnerships and Policy at Spin, and he'll be doing the first presentation. Then he'll be handing it off to Erica Duthley, who's the Director of Government Relations for Lime. So John, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tyler. Hi, everyone. Just start off by saying it's been great working with you as you've come on board, and big thanks to Caitlin as well. It was great working with you as well. So look forward to a continued super productive relationship, and excited to dive in here. Just a few slides today. So go ahead and advance to the next one. So wanted to start just sort of some contents and context here. I think the three things we really want to touch on, which is first ridership, which I think is also like a reflection of our operations, because when our operations are working well, we see that reflected in ridership. Equity and some of the ways we continue to invest in that and what our current program looks like. And then some of the ways, examples from the last quarter of community engagement. Go ahead to the next slide. So I think first on the ridership and operations front, when we looked at the quarterly ridership compared to the same quarter last year, we saw year-over-year growth of 45%. That's really exciting for us, just because I think in this space, growth is a really good thing. We need to find ways to continue moving more trips from single occupancy vehicles to small light electric vehicles, and seeing that pan out in scooters and bikes is really positive. What we credit this growth to is the new vehicle investment that we've made over the last year, the operational and efficiencies and enhancements that the team on the ground is continuing to work on, is sort of a process of continuous improvement. I think everybody knows that dynamics or micromobility transportation, it's the trip patterns are dynamic, and the team continues to grow and learn and figure out the best ways to get the right vehicle in front of the right rider at the right time. And then we're investing more all the time in like strong community engagement through events. There's a picture of one right there. You can go ahead to the next one. On the equity side, some of this is we reported on at the last quarterly meeting, but just a refresher on our program. We have what we call our Spin Access enrollment program, which provides free trips to income eligible residents. And to be part of that program, you apply through the app or through the website, you provide documentation and you're approved and you come on board. Very standard industry offering. What we rolled out just prior to the last quarterly meeting was our access zones, which is like certain areas, equity zones in Baltimore, where if you start a trip in that area, you automatically get a discount on your trip. The step we're taking, this sort of next step that we're taking, is increasing our communications to riders who begin trips in those access zones and pointing them towards our Spin Access enrollment program, where the discount becomes increased. And when we look at the growth of the access program over the last quarter, it continues to grow month over month. I think for the last quarter, we were adding about 1,000 riders a month. So that's really exciting for us to see. Go ahead to the next one. I think the last slide here, we as a company, really sort of doubled down on events across North America last quarter over the summer. I think we just got really excited, about the ridership that we were seeing. And I think what I wanted to point out in Baltimore and give props to the local team on is just sort of like the diversity of events. that we were out for. So there was 4th of July event, was just obviously just like a big holiday, but then there was Safe Streets pop-ups we were doing. There were sports games. We were out for Comic-Con. And I think like the reason that's exciting to me is just because we're able to reach different rider demographics in different groups and have those conversations about you know, why and how it makes sense to safely use micromobility around Baltimore. So I think that was a big success, and kudos to our local team for getting that done. And I think that's it for me.
All right, Erica, your turn.
Hello, everyone. For those who may not remember, I'm Erica Duckley. I am the Director of Government Relations here at Lime for the Mid-Atlantic region. This is now my second quarterly meeting, the first one being right after Lime's launch. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk about the ridership we've seen since we've launched. You know, Baltimoreans, both residents and visitors, have been very welcoming of Lime back to the city, and we are seeing that reflect in ridership. We're really excited that ridership has taken off the way it has since launch, and we've been growing steadily throughout the quarter, and we expect that we will continue to see growth. You know, we have our 4.1 vehicles on the street, and people are really excited about those, as well as our seated scooters, which have a lot of utilization. Since launch, we have seen riders take over 300,000 trips across both bikes and scooters. Next slide, please. And so here you can see ridership by vehicle type. You know, obviously we have more scooters than bikes, and scooters tend to be very popular, but we are really proud of the bike ridership we've seen. And we are really working to encourage people to utilize the bikes. But we've seen over 45,000 e-bike trips and over 250,000 scooter trips since July 1, which we think is really great. Next slide, please. And then I want to talk about our Lime Access ridership. Similar to Spin, we have our affordable program for low-income residents, and we've seen growth since launch with over 100 people signing up, taking over 2,000 trips. What we will be working on moving forward is in partnership with our friends over at Bike More, we will be working on direct enrollment with Bike More to help us recruit and promote people, the program to people, so that we can continue to grow across Baltimore. And that is it for me. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to reach out to me for any events or anything you would like Lime to participate in. That is what our focus will be on moving forward as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Erica. And just as a final reminder, that e-bike voucher program applications will be closing at noon tomorrow. I understand that we have over 3,000 applicants already. More applicants means more interest in this program. So if there's anyone who hasn't heard about it yet or hasn't gotten their application in yet, you've got until noon tomorrow to do so. So please do so, because it's an exciting program. Please reach out if you have a community event coming up, and subscribe to the mailing list and attend our next quarterly meeting. I've slated that for January 8th in 2025. And at this time, I would like to open it up for questions. Meg, you raised your hand, I think, first. You want to go ahead?
Sure. Thanks so much for the presentation, Tyler, Spin, and Lime. It's great to get updates on the program. I was actually wondering, though, about what's happening with the Link Recovery Program. Now that you have all of these in the impound lot, Are they going to be collecting them, or have y'all been able to tap their performance bonds to pay the towing fees that they're accruing?
Sorry. Unfortunately, Brett had to jump off the call, but my understanding is the plan is to get those scooters scrapped, and what parts can be repurposed will be repurposed. And yeah, the idea is to hold Super Pedestrian accountable in terms of the cost of that effort of having to recover those scooters.
Great, thank you.
I see Jed, and then we'll go to Harsh.
Meg asked the question I was going to ask, so I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Caitlin, did you have anything to add to that effort with the Link scooters?
No, I think that all sounds good. The city, we're not scrapping or recycling them. There's actually companies that have emerged that do that safely, and dispose of the batteries in a safe way that we'll be able to work with. Believe it or not, the scooters each have a few dollars of value um, to the company, but we are working with the insurance company that issued Super Pedestrians bond that's still in place. Um, but yeah, Tyler covered it. So
Thank you, Caitlin. Harsh, you have a question? I think you're muted right now, Harsh.
Sorry about that. Wanted to ask a clarifying question regarding the selection process for vehicle inspection. I think one of the items mentioned that it has to be rentable. So in that scenario, let's say a vehicle is in maintenance mode and unavailable to rent, would that count as a fail?
It will not. So what we're interested in is the condition of the vehicles that are available for rent for the public.
Okay.
You know, should there be just a ton of broken vehicles on the street that are not available, that's kind of like a separate issue I would be addressing with the operators. It's not part of the vehicle inspection process.
Copy that. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I forgot to express my appreciation for the efforts of our local operators. Spin's been in this market for a long time. Their efforts on, you know, the access program and marketing have been impressive. Lime has really come along since entering the market. We're seeing growth in the numbers of the rides that they are getting, and both operators are really doing a great job in terms of vehicle distribution and compliance with the equity zones and the deployment districts. So I just wanted to underscore that I really appreciate the efforts our local operators are making. I'm very pleased with the partnership that we're creating, while also, of course, making sure that they're compliant with all the things they need to be compliant with. So I wanted to express that. We really appreciate the work. Unless anyone else has something to ask or talk about, I was going to go ahead and close the meeting. All right. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking with you all, and